are Geekcentric, and you can be too. Love ya. Get home safe, guys. Peace.
Welcome to the Geekcentric podcast, and welcome to our special Behind the Geeks episode for Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 3. My name is Nate, and if you're joining us for the first time, we are Geekcentric, a podcast focusing on the world of movies, TV shows, games, toys, and collectibles, and all things Geekcentric. Joining me for this Behind the Geeks episode is the talking tree to my rambling raccoon. He is Groot. Justin Lawrence, how are you doing today?
I guess I would be the talking tree if
so.
You're the rambling raccoon. I think that's very fitting for us. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. I think we're Guardians. We said it in our spoiler-free review. You know, we feel like a family at this point. I think we could be Guardians. If Justin, if you were a Guardian, what would your superpower be?
Oh,
on the team, what would you be doing?
I would want to be more like a Star-Lord.
Okay,
you know, like
so
kind
just
of
like really charming and
wit, you know, and
witty,
and smart, and knowing how to kind of get out of situations. How to read the room, how to analyze the situation. I think that's more my speed. I admire that. It's not a superpower, but
right?
It's a power nonetheless that I think goes a long way.
For me, I think, James Gunn likes to work with some wacky characters. Mm-hmm. I think like a talking tree or with a talking raccoon, a guy that can whistle an arrow or whatever. And then when we go to DC, things get wackier with Polka Dot Man. His controls polka dots, I guess. So for me, I think my superpower, I'd want to start off with something ridiculous, like the ability to just be super comfortable no matter what. So like any surface that I lay down on, I'm comfortable. And what I could see it working as, it starts off as a character that you're kind of laughing at, but then over time, it starts to become that like, Po from Kung Fu Panda, how he just can't get hurt.
Yes.
It would be like that. Like I'd be my super comfort ability would be would keep me from getting hurt. I don't know. That was what I came up with.
Yeah, no, that works for you.
Yeah.
I feel like that's like the perfect power. It's lazy but not too lazy. You know what I mean? Like it's like a slow poke, but not overly slow poke.
I would tire out the enemy, and then I would have you come in as Star-Lord, and you would finish them off.
Okay,
Justin,
sure.
Listen, I'm rambling like a raccoon.
Clearly.
So we aren't really Guardians of the Galaxy, but we did get to talk with one of them.
Yes.
And the other, I think the other person we talked to, I think he'd be super interested in my super comfort ability. So Justin, why don't you tell our lovely audience who we had the chance to chat with?
Of course. Well, I had the opportunity to sit down with Sean Gunn, who you would know as Kraglin, or if you know, then you know. He's also the on-set performance capture for Rocket. So that was a great conversation. And Nate, you had a chance to sit down with CHUKWUDI IWUJI, High Evolutionary, the villain of this movie, which was also a fantastic conversation, if I might say so myself. Huge thanks to our friends at Disney Studios Canada and Marvel Studios Canada for helping to set this up. Again, we're just so humbled to have been included. Yeah, this was a lot of fun and super, super grateful for the opportunity.
It's, I think you were with me. I was just giddy the entire time, like after the interview. Leading up to the interview, I was a little nervous, my first in-person interview. But then afterwards, we were just having the best time.
Yeah,
it was so good. Yeah.
Well, I think we should just move right into the interviews. Let our lovely audience check them out, and then let's talk a little bit more about them after.
Awesome. Well, listen, please enjoy our interviews with Sean Gunn and CHUKWUDI IWUJI. Hey, Sean. My name is Justin.
Hello.
Welcome to the Geekcentric podcast. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. How are you?
Thank you. I'm doing well. This is a fun time in my life.
Yeah, I can only imagine. Today I told my wife I was going to be chatting with Sean Gunn, and her immediate response was, "You mean Kirk from Gilmore Girls?"
Yeah.
And it was surprising to me because she never remembers anyone's name, so she totally knew who you were.
I like that. I still get it. The Gilmore Girls fans are crazy. They're crazier than the Marvel fans, believe it or not.
Oh, I don't doubt it. My wife loves the show. But I've also known you from a variety of your work, primarily as Kraglin. You've been a part of this franchise for almost 10 years now. Yeah. And there's been some time that's passed. I want to know, in your own words, where's Kraglin at right now?
Well, when we leave Kraglin off at the end of the second movie, he's been given the Yaka arrow by Peter Quill, which is an emotional moment. And it's a lot of responsibility. We know from the tag scene in that movie that he has not mastered the arrow because he's whistling it into Drax. And then we know from the holiday special that he's not really using it. He's not even really trying it because he's sort of afraid of failure. And so that's where we pick him up. He feels a lot of responsibility, Kraglin, to find his place within the Guardians, but he's afraid of messing up too.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I think everyone in the movie is kind of on a journey of self-discovery and discovering something new about themselves, and I absolutely love that. Now, you're not just Kraglin, of course. You're the on-set performance capture for Rocket. What's it been like working with Bradley Cooper to kind of collaborate on bringing that character to life? And even just for yourself, it's been, again, almost 10 years doing the motion capture. What new things have you learned?
Yeah, it's been a heck of a thing. I mean, it takes a team of people to create Rocket. And I look at it almost a little like a relay race sometimes. It's like my brother James writes the character and it basically lets us all know where we're going. Hands the baton to me. I work with the other actors on set. Then I hand it off to the visual effects team, who takes part of what I do and starts to animate the character, and then the anchor comes in and Bradley puts the whole thing together and makes the whole thing work. And doing that over 6 films now has been an interesting experience. It's made me feel very, very close to Rocket, and knowing how sort of this third movie really dives into what it is that Rocket sort of means within the context of this whole story, was very emotional for me. And it's like anything else. It's like I want to do my part. I want to make sure that I'm part of the whole. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. No, I totally agree. And talking about the emotions, I saw the movie yesterday and I bawled numerous times. I cried from laughing, but also just from really heartfelt moments. And I wanted to know, was there anything in particular from the movie that hit you on emotional level?
In the performance of it, there's a moment for Rocket that we see toward the end of the film where we see Rocket crying, and I was definitely right there for it. I couldn't keep it together when we were shooting, and it was very, very difficult. That feels different than the watching the film and getting what hits me from being a spectator, as somebody who's also an insider and feeling it. And there are other moments that made me cry. I don't want to spoil anything, but there's a moment. Nebula has a moment later in the movie that I wasn't expecting that it would get me, but it got me when I was watching.
I think I know the moment because I bawled when I saw it.
Yeah.
She's such a tough exterior, and to see that sort of vulnerability, it was great. And I think everyone delivers that vulnerability. They all have heart. As you mentioned before, your brother James Gunn, director of this movie, director of all 3, he's very busy. He's a lovable guy. Everyone loves working with him.
Yeah.
Now you're his brother. I wanted to ask you. You got the inside track. What makes this guy so lovable? Because I'm watching things and seeing things. I'm like, man, I'd love to hang out with James Gunn. Just be a fly on the wall and be on one of his sets. What is it that's the secret sauce that James makes?
I want to say confidence, not hubris.
Right.
But confidence in himself as a storyteller. He is very adamant about his ideas, and as a creator, he's incredibly precise. So he knows when he's creating something that this is what it is that we're doing. It makes collaborators very comfortable
Yes.
working with him.
I can imagine.
And you know, he's just it must be what it's like to be an athlete and work with a great quarterback or a you know, an amazing point guard in basketball or something. Somebody who's like, you can count on me. I've got your back in terms of all this stuff.
Right.
He's really good.
Yeah, it sounds like he's also very encouraging of everyone.
Oh, yeah.
Bringing their best to their performance.
Yeah, he also, you know, one of my brother's greatest skills is that he doesn't hire jerks. He vets the actors that he works with and the crew as well, really well. And so we have a lot of not just really talented actors, but a lot of really, really good people who work on these movies, and that makes it so much easier.
That's great. I love it. It's a movie about family, and it seems like it's a family that's putting this movie together.
That's
at the
right.
same time, so absolutely love it. Sean, thank you so much for taking the time to join us on the Geekcentric podcast. It
Sure.
means a lot. Whether you're Kirk or Kraglin, I love the work that you're doing, man. I love the suit. Looks
Thank
great,
you.
man. Looks
I appreciate it.
CHUKWUDI, my name is Nate. Thank you so much for joining me today on the Geekcentric podcast. How are you doing today, and how are you enjoying Toronto?
Oh my God, I'm doing so well. This is all very exciting. The enthusiasm is wonderful, and I'm enjoying Toronto a lot more this time because the last time I was here 5 years ago, it was during the polar vortex.
Oh gosh.
So yeah, yeah, I'm enjoying it a lot more this
Much
time.
better experience. I watched the movie yesterday.
Yeah.
You were fantastic in it.
Oh, thank
you.
you.
were terrifying in it. And I hated your character's guts in
Good.
the best way
Yeah.
possible. You know, I wanted to kind of start off by sort of, saying you've got such a rich history with the theater. Am I doing that right? The theater?
Wonderful, yeah.
Thank you.
Soft R, everything, brilliant.
You described your character as sort of being in that gray area between madness and genius. What was it like bringing your theatrical background into the mad genius that is the High Evolutionary?
Well, when you're living in between those two spaces, and I'll add grandeur to it. The theater background is perfect because that's a lot of the great, whether it's Hamlet or Richard III, or in this case specifically, I was really drawn to Henry IV and his the weight of responsibility. Heavy is the head that wears the crown.
Yeah.
It does. It fed in. I couldn't have thought of a better role and a better setting and a better director to let me play with that than James to step into the MCU, because I really did tap on that background. He loves to speak. He loves people to listen to his voice, and he plays it. And he plays with it and all that. So yeah, I tapped into that very deeply to play this character.
I love that. It fits you like a glove.
Thank you.
Oh, so good. I've seen you in other interviews, and you've praised this. The cast and the crew and the team for all their contributions to this movie. Hopefully you don't get a little uncomfortable with this, but I want to know, what is something that you contributed that you're proud of to this film?
Oh my God. Yeah, you know that's an uncomfortable question.
Right.
So, well, you know what? Your response when you came in here and the response of a few people I've spoken to makes me know that goal we had to create this guy that was unflinching, uncompromising, terrifying. The words, the way you've described the adverbs or adjectives you've used and all that made me go, okay, I at least got to what I was hoping to get to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm glad I brought that. And also, James could have had asked anyone, a lot of bigger names than myself. Probably a lot of people I admire could have stepped into this role. And the fact that he asked me to do it, and that I have now created the High Evolutionary on the screen the way I want to, makes me very proud. So I feel very proud and lucky,
Absolutely. And I think after seeing you in Peacemaker, I mean, how could James not?
Oh, thank you.
This movie is an emotional roller coaster. I was crying my eyeballs out,
Me
then
too.
laughing, and then crying my eyeballs out. For yourself, obviously, this is spoiler free, but without spoiling anything, was there a part of the movie that really impacted you or hit you emotionally?
Yeah, there were, and there's no way really to say it without going into spoiler territory. But suffice to say, involved. Shall we say the first time you Rocket speaks in the movie? I think you know where I mean.
Yeah.
I think that doesn't spoil it. The first time Rocket speaks in the movie, I lost it. And I was in a private screening with my manager. I lost it. And, there were a lot of shots of Rocket's eyes, and they reminded me of my own dog.
Yeah.
And so I cried in the same two places in the screening, and I thought, okay, I cried in the screen. I was like, okay, I'm good. I know what's coming. And then in the premiere, I cried in the same two places again. But one of them is the first time Rocket speaks, and I think you know exactly where I'm talking about.
Well, speaking of your dog, Cicero.
Cicero, yeah.
Yeah, your Snoodle.
Yeah.
You know, my final question here, really, I mean, your character in this movie is really not a friend to anyone, and especially terrible to his animal subjects. You are obviously the opposite. You're so charming and so nice, even just meeting you. I want to know, besides Cicero, what's your favorite animal and why?
Okay, besides dogs.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's a good question.
Thank you.
I think it'd have to be in the large cat family, just because of the sheer power and grace. We all wish we could be as elegant as a jaguar or
a panther.
A panther.
Yeah.
So they're not, and you know, there's something about when a large cat, like a jaguar, panther, or a lion, when they actually befriend humans. You know, you see those videos on YouTube of trainers coming back and they remember them and they hug them. There's something about seeing something that could swipe your head off in one blow, actually hug you instead. Yeah. So I'd have to go with a wild, large cat.
That reminds me of Rocket the raccoon.
Yeah.
Right? And absolutely, he's just as dangerous as, thank you. Well, listen, CHUKWUDI, it was a pleasure chatting with you. You are absolutely, again, phenomenal in this movie.
Oh, thank you so much.
Can't wait to see what you do next. And we are back. Justin, I mean, listen, it's always incredible to chat with folks. We always say this, behind the stuff that we love. Mm-hmm. But there's something just immensely cool about watching someone on IMAX in a Marvel movie and then shaking their hand the next day. It was
pretty surreal.
Blown away.
Yeah, it's pretty surreal. I think, again, it'll never faze us. No matter whoever it is that we're interviewing, whether it's a producer, a director, an actor, subsequent secondary actor, whoever it is, it'll never faze us at these amazing opportunities, and just the ability, like you said, to connect with them and get a little more insight. You know, I love that both of us kind of aligned our questioning in and around moments that emotionally hit them, and I love that, you know, CHUKWUDI was very humbled and sincere about exactly where for him hit the hardest, without giving spoilers. So I appreciate that. But I also love, like, Sean was able to kind of just align with, there's two aspects to it. There's the performative aspect of it, you know, being in that moment, playing Rocket, and then on the flip side, being the audience member and watching it. So I love that he was able to share kind of two sides to that experience, because as we know, and if you haven't seen the movie, but you've seen the trailers, Rocket's story is very much a focus, and it's an emotional story. And even in these interviews have alluded to, it's kind of the heart of Volume 3. So, you know, I love that they were able to at least offer it up without necessarily feeling too intimidated about spoiling anything. So I appreciated that.
Well, hearing that you know, Sean broke down on set honestly makes a lot of sense, because, you know, we talked about in our spoiler-free review about how incredible the performance capture is in this movie, with Rocket, you know, done by Sean Gunn, with the voice work, a little bit from himself.
Yeah, I didn't even get a chance to mention that in the interview, because I had it in my notes, but I completely forgot. But he did do the voice of younger Rocket, and then to hear CHUKWUDI say that, like, the moment that you hear young Rocket, you know, Rocket first speak for the first time, which I'm thinking it might be Sean. I'm not sure.
Noah. It could have been the youngest.
Noah. It could have been the youngest version. Yeah, it might have been. You're right.
Well, it's cool that we both got to chat with them, because they would have had such a unique relationship on set, given that, you know, CHUKWUDI would have been hanging out with Sean Gunn quite a bit in their interactions. I think kudos to you, Justin, for getting the inside track on what makes James Gunn so lovable. I loved hearing that he's super specific in choosing to not work with jerks, I think is the way that Sean put it. And honestly, that's how you create a family environment. And it's this movie, it's so clear, the chemistry with this cast. I mean, it always has been phenomenal. And now that makes so much more sense, knowing that James is so particular with who he brings on for these projects.
Well, like I said at the end there, to wrap it up, it's a movie about a family made by a family. It sounds like, but I really did like. I wanted to ask a question that allows us to kind of learn a little bit more, because James Gunn seems like a really cool guy. Like, the way he posts his stuff about his life and how open he is, and his wedding looked like a really great time and stuff like that. Like, it just looks like he would be cool to hang out with. And I as someone who's always wanted to be on a set, just to even be a fly on the wall to see how it's done, his environment, his set environment is one that intrigues me the most, because of how lovingly everyone speaks about working with James Gunn. Just everyone loves this guy. And as many of the actors have said, there's always that opportunity that James Gunn will say, okay, do whatever you want. Do whatever you want. I've gotten what I need. Do whatever you want. And, as an actor, they love that opportunity to maybe dive a little deeper, maybe go the other direction with something and deliver something. And if you can have a safe environment to do that, it seems like James Gunn is very much built on that.
Yeah, well, and I mean, I think, speaking of expressing yourself, I think CHUKWUDI, his ability to bring his theatrical background, like hearing him just mention Henry IV, I was like,
perfect.
Yes, absolutely. Like the High Evolutionary, he thinks he's got such a responsibility to better the world the way that he thinks it should be, and that's the main problem with characters like that is that they only see it one way. Like, I don't know, I love that he was proud of aiming for that and absolutely nailed it.
He hit the target. He hit the
100%.
target entirely. Again, like you said, he nailed it to a T, and I love that he's proud that people hate him. Like, he's proud that people just they're just like, you are the worst villain in the MCU, but in the best possible way, meaning I hated your guts, and that's a good thing, right? Because
you'll never forget that performance.
You'll never forget it, and it'll haunt you. It'll literally haunt you when you think back. And I think, we were talking about this in the spoiler free, but we've talked immensely about a variety of villains throughout the MCU who audience members can sort of align with on a moral standpoint, Killmonger or Zemo or even Thanos.
Right.
So here we have, someone who we don't align with as an audience members are not aligning with as a villain. They
Hopefully
don't see
not.
the moral standing.
Hopefully
no,
not.
they see again this desire for perfection, this sort of God complex that is just sort of imbued in the High Evolutionary, and it's sickening. Do you know what I mean? It's awful. I almost think it was better in some ways than Gore the God Butcher. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think Gore the God Butcher could have leaned in a little bit more to what the High Evolutionary and that sort of strategy. But again, that's another movie. That's another director. But yeah, I think he's probably quite easily, he's the best villain thus far in the latest phases of 4 and 5 to kind of introduce, like, other than Kang, obviously, but we'll see what happens with that.
He's definitely up there. Last two things before we wrap up, I wanted to mention, it was great to hear that Gilmore Girls fans are still going crazy. # crazy for Kirk.
Yep.
Apparently.
Crazy for Kirk. Yeah. No, I have no doubt of it. My wife loves that show, or anything that just suddenly reminds. She'll always just be like, oh, like in Gilmore Girls. I'm like, okay. Just random. I guess that's the equivalent, though, to me when she says something and I'm like, oh, like that MCU movie.
Yeah.
Right. And she's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. If
and
you
also,
you know, right?
If you know, you know. And I was happy to know that CHUKWUDI thought that what is your favorite animal was a good question. Sometimes we go into these interviews, and as I mentioned earlier, this was my first in-person interview, and I it was one of those things where I was like, I want to get some good questions for it, but at the end of the day, sometimes you just got to talk about your favorite animals, and I love that he chose big cats.
Well, to be fair, you didn't lead with that question, so that's good.
That was my first thing I asked.
Yeah, you got to have like one simple question in the back pocket, right? So I'm glad that he enjoyed it, though, and he came up with a really good spot. I love when you guys both have like this moment where it's like a panther, right? Yeah, and you're like, yeah. And the way he says panther is
he's got
beautiful,
such a phenomenal.
Oh,
voice.
he's like like you said, theater, soft R, just everything. It was just
I
It
nailed
was
it.
perfect. Yeah, you nailed it, apparently.
Well, that is it. We hope you enjoyed this special Behind the Geeks episode. And if you did, make sure to subscribe to us right here on YouTube. Or if you're listening to this on a podcast service, click that subscribe button. We've got a ton of great episodes covering the latest in movies and TV shows, including our recent spoiler-free reviews for Star Wars Visions Volume 2, and then Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and the Super Mario Bros. Movie, and so much more. We also have a ton of interviews like this one for you to check out, like our interviews with the executive producers of Star Wars Visions Volume 2. Justin had a really wonderful, good, deep conversation with them about that series, and it's just so phenomenal. Please, we're recording this on May the 4th. Just watch it, okay? And then we also have our interview with Alyssa Waponatuk, who plays Tiger Lily in Peter Pan and Wendy, and Justin had a chance to chat with her about bringing her true, authentic self to the character of Tiger Lily. So definitely check out those interviews, again, here on our YouTube channel. If you're listening to this on our podcast feed, youtube.com/Geekcentric, go over there, give those episodes a like, give us a listen, comment, share, and give us a 5-star review. Honestly, on podcast services, it helps so much to get those 5-star reviews. Lastly, we've got some really great TikToks over on our TikTok at We Are Geekcentric on TikTok. You can check those out for May the 4th week. We kind of have been, focusing on Star Wars related interview content. So definitely go check out those. Justin's been doing a great job with them. Justin, thank you so much for joining me for this special Behind the Geeks episode, Behind the Guardians episode.
There you go.
And
That's
as
a good
we
one.
say, love ya.
Peace.